In this presentation, we will enter business deposits into QuickBooks from our business bank statement for the month of January in our practice problem. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. We are on the home page. We currently have the open windows open. You can open the open windows by going to the view drop-down and selecting the open windows list. We're now going to be entering the deposits directly from our bank statement for our business account. Our bank statement looks like this. So this is the mock bank statement. We entered the beginning balance for it. Now we have our deposits and we have our checks and other withdrawals, or the inflows and the outflows of our bank statement. So we have the summary up top and then the detail down below. It's going to be a fairly short bank statement, small business. We're going to enter our detail for that business into the system. Our deposits are going to be on the left side. So we just have these 4 deposits that we are going to enter. We're using a cash-based system. We're just entering this directly into the bank statement. And therefore, our assumption is that all of these deposits are going to be revenue under our cash-based system, unless we know otherwise. And in this case, we know otherwise for this first deposit because we put it in there from the personal checking account. So we want to be able to differentiate that. And that's one way that we can think of our deposits in our business account. That's one reason that we separate the business accounts from the personal in terms of the checking account. It helps us to be able to look at these deposits and say, what are these? Where did they come from? Well, if they're from the business, hopefully they're all money that's generated by the business and therefore revenue in some way, at least from a cash basis standpoint. And then anything that isn't, we can determine. Did we get a loan? Did we put the money in? In this case, we put the money in here. We're going to be entering this directly into our check register for these 4 deposits. So let's go into our check register, back to QuickBooks. We're going to go to the bank register by going this time to the banking dropdown, go into the use register item within it, and then we're going to have our checking account. That's the one we want. That's the one. And we're going to enter this information then. First one is going to be on January 5th. That's the date we want. We're going to be working in 2020. We entered this in 2019, the end of the period before we're starting to enter our data for the first of the year 2020. So we'll change the date up top. We're going to say 010520. That's going to be January 5th, 2020. We don't have a check number. I'm going to put in for the check numbers a DEP to stand for the deposit. We don't know who the deposit is from under this method. In this case, we kind of do. It's from us. It's a transfer for the first one, but we're not really recording who the deposits came from under this cash basis method. We're basically assuming they're all going to be revenue unless we mention otherwise in case of this first one being from the business or the personal account. So we're going to say this is 2,000 in the deposit. Make sure we're on the deposit side. And this, once again, is the exception. It's not going to be an income account. It's from us. So if we go to this drop down, we're going to say it shouldn't be revenue. This is the exception. It's not revenue. We put it in there from our personal business account. So then you would think it would be up in the equity section, and it will. We could put it in equity. We could put it in like a loan from us, like an asset type account. I want to put it in equity, but I don't really want to. We could put it into equity, owner's equity, but I'd like to differentiate it. I'd like to see how much we put in versus how much of equity is being generated and accumulated from the business. So what I'm going to do is make another account, and I'm going to call it an investment account. And it'll be an equity type account. And this will allow us to track from this QuickBooks file to our personal QuickBooks file, because we'll be able to see over here, okay, here's the 2,000. And then we'll be able to see on the other side, there's the 2,000 that went out from the personal, and here it is going into the business. That'll give us some assurity that we're doing these kind of transfers correctly. We should be able to see both sides of the transfer in other words. So we'll make a new account here. We'll call it owner investment, and then I'm going to say tab, and then we'll set up the new account. That's what we want to do. I'm going to set it up. Now, it's not going to be an expense. That's the default that QuickBooks will give us. It usually will just say, hey, it's usually an expense when you enter something here, even though it was a deposit. So it doesn't seem like that's, but in any case, we're going to change the default and we are going to make it an equity type of account. We want to make it an equity type of account. Okay, everything else looks good. We're not going to change anything else and say save and close. Now we may want to put a memo. Although the account pretty much says it all right there, we're going to say owner deposit from the personal checking account. So now we at least know where it came from. So we should be able to see it on the other side in our personal account. So we're going to say okay. And this transaction, we're going to say yes and see the next item. So we've done this one. I'm going to highlight it, right click and say that's done. And now these we're just going to assume are all deposits. So on 1/9/3006, or we're going to assume they are deposits. We're going to assume they're all income revenue. So this happened on January 9th. And once again, it's a deposit. And we don't know who from, so I'm going to leave that blank. I'm just going to say deposit, make sure we're on the deposit side and put in 3600. And then whatever type of company we are, we'll have a different name for the revenue account. But if I select the drop down, it's going to be some type of revenue. Because we chose to be products and merchandise, it's called sales. If we chose a service company, it might be called fees earned. In any case, it'll have those little items. So it's income, and that's the type of account it is. That's the important thing for it. So that's the one we want. And we're just going to say enter and OK. And then the next one, I'm going to go ahead and cross that one out or highlight it. I'm not crossing them out. I'm just highlighting them. And then we're on 1/15. 1/15 is the next item. Once again, it's a deposit. DEP we'll put in for the deposit. That amount was $5,200, if I can remember correctly. And we're going to put the same thing as sales. Sales, they're all going to be sales because they're deposits. And we'll go to the next one then. One more. And then we have to stop this because this is the last one we have. 128. So on 128, I'm just hitting the plus button to get up there. 128. It's going to be a deposit DEP. And that's going to be 49. Whoop, what happened there? It's trying to calculate for me. That's nice, but I don't want you to do that. So it's going to be 4900. And once again, sales and tab. So there's going to be our deposits. So I'm going to say enter, make sure it's recorded. So make sure it's on the line below. So it's been recorded. And that's what we have so far. If we take a look at our financials to this point, we're going to go to the reports drop down, company and financial. We'll take a look at the balance sheet first. Changing the dates up top in the customized reports from 01/01/19 to 12/31/19 being January 1st. Let's make it 2020. 2020. That's the year we're working in. January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. And OK. So now we have our checking account has the 16.7 in it. If we double click on it, we get the owner. It started note with that 1,000 that we entered in the prior presentation, the beginning balance. And then we've got the owner deposit there that we've got a separate memo on. We can see that they're all deposits. They put this one in as a transfer, but in any case, transfers or deposits. And that means if we double click on any of them, if I double click on this item, we'll get to a deposit screen or a transfer screen. They're still in the check register, same thing, but they're going to use this forms to drive the transactions in QuickBooks. I just closed that back out. So there's going to be our activity, 15.7 for the current time period, and the 1,000, of course, prior to it, giving us the 16.7 total. Closing this back out. The other side of it is going to be on the 1,000 is from the prior. That's what we put in before. It rolled over into the owner's equity, or we put it in there directly, but from the prior year. And then we've got the investments now. So we're going to track that separately. It's in the equity side. But now that it's broken out in a separate equity account, we should be able to match it up to our personal books more easily. And then we've got the net income here. If we double click on that item, it's going to give us all the deposits that we put in place with the other side going to the income account. So we're going to close that back out. Now, this one, remember, it's a little bit tricky to think about this net income number on the balance sheet. It's kind of funny that QuickBooks does that, but it's trying to help us to see the relationship between the balance sheet and the income statement or profit and loss. So let's take a look at that relationship by now going to the profit and loss reports dropdown, company and financial, profit and loss. Changing the dates from 01/01/20, 12/31/20, that's January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020. And we see our sales, which is our revenue account, is recorded the other side of it. That adds up to the 13.7 going back to the balance sheet. That's what they're putting here in the balance sheet. So they're trying to say, hey, these two reports are related by that net income amount. So we're going to go back over here and go to the profit and loss. And if we double click on that item, then we've got our 3 deposits that we had assigned to the revenue or income or sales account. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.